So I do go over the top of pouring it out a little, but I do use everything I've poured out. It's Wendy here again from Toonpish Crafts, and I hope you're doing okay. Today I'm doing a collaboration with the amazing Claire at Claire's Crafty Corner. If you haven't seen Claire's channel, where have you been? She is amazing. She does so many different crafts as well. I'll put her link in the description below, but I think you've probably already seen Claire. We decided that we would do a tray that would incorporate something to do with the Cricut, and also floral or botanical, however you want to put it. So that's the collaboration that we're going to do. Let's see how I get on with it. So to start with, I'm going to be using Let's Resin Chameleon Flakes, and this colour is blue. And I'm going to be doing my edge technique. If you haven't seen a video on that, I will link it in the corner above. And I'm going to be using the flakes just to go around the outside edge of the tray. This will give me a nice clean edge once I'm finished and demolded. So I do go over the top of pouring it out a little, but I do use everything I've poured out. It was a bit over the top, I know, but it did get used, so it's all good. I'm not going to clean up the bottom of the tray on this one. I'm going to put colour on the bottom. And I don't think it's necessary. It's not going to be seen as it's the bottom. I might even put felt on the bottom of this tray, so it's going to be covered up. For the first pour of this tray, I'm going to be using all the colours from the same set that I purchased from Amazon. They are brown, rose red, yellow and orange, so they're easy to get hold of. And Vista Turbo is my resin of choice today. It's a quicker curing resin. It is meant to be for deeper pours. I think it's 10ml and above. Quick squirt of isopropyl alcohol there just to help the resin to flow better. Now I'm going to start with the brown. As I said, Vista Turbo is meant to be for deeper pours, but I need it to cure quite quickly because there's a lot of layers to do with this. So that's where I've gone, and it does cure quite well actually, as long as it's warm. So the yellow is going above the brown. Now it doesn't matter if it's not up to the edge because I'm going to make sure it spreads out. The orange above the yellow and the rose red right at the top. No, I don't think this rose red is very rose red. I think it's more pink, but I suppose there's a lot of roses that are pink. So my interpretation of a rose red would be red, but yeah, it might be pink to somebody else. However, it does work okay with this, I must admit. Now I'm just using a heat gun here just to manipulate the resin so that it goes up to the edge and there's no gap. I don't run a silicone tool around the edge of this, although I think I should have done. I completely forgot. Now I'm coming in with my silicone tool just to mess up the edges so that they kind of meld together. I use my isopropyl alcohol, and then I come in a little bit while later when it's cured up a little and mess it up again. I basically want it to meld together without too many straight lines or definitions, and I think the back and forward motion definitely worked better than the up and down. Again, some more isopropyl alcohol. So in the design space for Cricut, this is the images that I've chosen. I've ungrouped them, and I do go on and manipulate them slightly and rearrange them, and I'm going to cut them out on different colours for the different levels. This is my plan. It does work. I am still learning Cricut and I've got a lot to learn, but yeah, it worked. So this is the first layer that I'm putting down once the first layer of resin has cured up. And to be honest with you, I've got a lot of bubbles here, a lot of bubbles. Now I have since realised that you can squirt water onto the surface to eliminate most of the bubbles, and I didn't know that at the time. So yeah, I had to go around and pop quite a few of them. I was a bit worried about damaging the surface of the resin to start with as well, because although it had cured, it was only been cured for about 8 hours, and I was worried about the fingerprints. So I'm going to put isopropyl alcohol again on the layer and then just pour one 300ml clear resin layer. Again, it's turbo and isopropyl alcohol. Now this has been left for overnight, and I'm going to try the waxed paper method of lining up the two layers. So this is the second layer. It's a slightly different colour brown, so you can tell the difference. But I'm trying the wax paper underneath it so that I can adjust where I put the second layer. It does work, but I cut a lot of this out. It took me forever. You can see my hair in the picture there where I'm trying to see whether it's straight, whether it's in the right place. It did take an age. And I found because the wax paper wasn't really see-through, I couldn't tell whether I was in the right place or not. So I decided later on subsequent layers not to use this method. Although, to be honest with you, it did work. I think I chose the wrong wax paper. So I apologise for hands and heads getting in the way, but it was really difficult to line it up. And you can see it's slightly off there. It's slightly wobbly, but that is actually how it's meant to be. The trees are meant to be slightly off. So although it looks as if I've missed it, I've gone round the circle a little bit wrong, it did actually work quite well. So I've managed to put it down. I've got less bubbles this time, and taking off the transfer paper was a little easier. Another 300ml of clear Vista Turbo, and I do go around the outside with a micro brush. Apart from the first layer, I've done that with every layer. And a squirt of isopropyl alcohol. And I cover it up with a lid every layer as well. So a little while later, I think this is the next day, I've decided to put some stickers. Now these stickers I bought from the range in the UK. You can probably get them most places, I would imagine. And I just love little butterflies, and I thought these sparkly little butterflies would just add something to it. So this is the third layer of the vinyl. So this was the easiest layer to put down. By this time I'd used the vinyl transfer tape 3 times, so it was less sticky and easier to use. It only needed the 2 tree trunks at the side to be seen, so yeah, it was the easiest layer to do. But now I was getting worried that the mould was getting quite full up. So another 300ml of clear resin, and the mould is getting really quite close to the top. Another squirt with isopropyl alcohol and micro brush around the outside, and it's left to cure. With the 4th layer I was struggling. Now you'll have to forgive the head in the shot because I was really struggling getting it in the right place. Again, I cut a lot of this out. But once I got it there, I was determined then to get less bubbles. I'd used the transfer tape several times so it was less sticky, and it worked a dream. I then decided to put the last layer directly on top before I poured any more resin because the mould was nearly full. I didn't really have a choice there, to be honest with you. I would have loved a deeper mould, but that's the way it had to be. And for the last layer, I chose a holographic vinyl. I think in hindsight I would prefer to make it a bit darker, like a blue or a dark pink. But it does work. There's still bubbles in it. I'm still learning. But I really like the effect now. It looks really 3D. You can see through it, and I love that. I absolutely love that. And no matter what way you look, it's a different colour. But around the outside, it was dull. So what I decided to do was to add some vinyl words. Everything to do with snacks, crisps, cakes, you name it. I printed it out and stuck it on. They were fun. They were tiny, they were brilliant. I loved doing them. I used 2 different vinyl colours, one that was a silver reflective kind and one that was a bluey kind, bluey purple one. I will link everything I used down below, but it was a lot of fun. This tray was so much fun, and I did try to leave a space for where the handles would go as well. I knew I was going to not bury them this time. I was going to put them on afterwards, because I wanted to use the gold ones you can see in the frame, but I didn't use those in the end. The screws were just too long. So I used some older type that I had, and I think it worked really well. I want to say a quick thank you to all my subscribers, especially those that have just joined me over the Christmas period. I hope you're enjoying my content. I also want to say thank you to all those that have stayed with me from the beginning. And if you haven't subscribed already, then maybe you would consider doing so. It does help my channel out. So the last level, the top coat, and I'm using Vista Rapids, and I have the tray on the heat mat. I have warmed it up considerably with a heat gun as well to make sure that this top coat cures correctly, cures nice and shiny. I want the best for this tray. And I'm just going to go around the outside to make sure, because this tray is right up to the edge, I'm just going to make sure that it doesn't overflow, so I don't have to do any trimming up afterwards either. I do put a little bit more resin in this once I've gone around the outside, just to make sure it's up to the edge nicely. It is very cold here at the moment, and resin does like the warm, so the heat mat will definitely help it curing. And instead of using isopropyl alcohol, I use a heat gun. That will help too. So 24 hours later, and it's time to demold this beast. I've absolutely loved making this, and I couldn't wait to see what it looks like with the edging as well. I am so impressed with this. I love it to bits, absolutely adore it. It is dead shiny. The edging worked wonders. Yeah, the back, you can even see the design through it, which I love. And I take it to the garage and I put some handles on it. That was a bit tricky, but I did it.
Thanks Claire for this collaboration. I've really enjoyed it. Go check out Claire's channel if you haven't seen her tray already. It is stunning. It is really gorgeous. I don't do trays very often, and I haven't done one for a long time, and I'm so chuffed with the outcome of this one. The handles I drilled through to put the handles on properly. I have never done that before, and the top coat, it was flawless. The heat mat really did the trick with that. It is cold here, mind you, but I absolutely love it. I think it is gorgeous. The holographic vinyl that the Cricut cut the words from just makes it. I think it's turned it from quite a little boring piece to something that has a lot going with it. It's blinged it up quite a lot. I love the stickers, the butterflies. What do you think? How would you have done it differently? Let me know in the comments below. I really enjoyed this though. Thanks so much for watching. Come back and see me next week, because you never know what I'm going to be up to. I'll put some stills up at the end. Have a great week. Bye for now.